Welcome back to Wealthy Mentor Trading, guys. Today is June the 27th, 2021. Today I'm going to be looking at the S&P 500 in its strong push that we had last week. I'm going to be looking at some targets to the upside and to the downside. I'm also going to be talking about the technology sector, QQQ, which is at all-time highs. I'm pretty bullish on technology sector right now. Also, not to mention XLV and semiconductor SMH, the energy and semiconductors, they're at the highs. So overall, the market's looking really bullish. I'm also going to be looking to see if we do get a pullback and where we can potentially end up. We are in a double top scenario on SPX. And to me, it does look a little bit of extension past that 4250 mark. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm also going to dive into our watch list names, such as Nvda, Netflix, Roku, a strong push above that $400 mark. I'm also going to touch up on AMC and where I see it going heading into next week. Spce made a huge move on Friday, and now it's potentially testing all-time highs at 62. Snap also broke above that $65 resistance that I mentioned last week. And Visa also broke to all-time highs, along with TGT nearing the all-time high section. Now, guys, if you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also share it with your friends. And be sure also to check out the wealthymentor.net. We do have the description. We do have the link in the description, I should say, if you do want to trade with us on our Discord group. We do have market analysis every single day, along with swing trading names and daily trading names, along with call outs on options. And we also give you analyst upgrades and the whole 9 yards. So be sure to check that out. The link is in the description. But before I get going right now, I do have SPX on the 1 hour chart. And as you guys can see, we are pretty bullish here, bouncing from that 4164 level all the way, beelining to all-time highs to that 4286 level, where we did close off pretty bullish on Friday. Going into next week, if you guys guessed, I am looking at that magical 4300 psychological. Above that, I do have targets to the upside, 4310 and 4300. To the downside, if we cannot break through into tomorrow's action, I am looking at support at that 4216, 4250 level. If we break below those, 4230 and 4220 are key levels for me to receive a pullback. We are a little overextended here, breaking above that 4250 level without much consolidation and pretty much testing that 4300 going into next week. We are potentially a little overextended, so we might see a hit at 4300, then receive a pullback at support at 4280. And if that doesn't hold, obviously, as I mentioned, that 4260, 4250 is where we received a little bit of a gap up here. So look for the market, if we do see some weakness, to fill this gap right here tomorrow or potentially midweek. So that is SPX in my views into next week. The market is very bullish, like I said. We also have QQQ, which is the tech sector. And just quickly looking at this, as you guys can see here, we do have all-time highs at that 351 level, hovering around all-time highs. So going into tomorrow, if we do see the tech sector pop over, look for this level to break for take profits at 355 and 358 respectively that I have drawn out here. Now to the downside, we do have some support here at 346 and 345 and also 342. If we do receive a pullback, a market pullback, look for QQQ to push lower. Okay, just wanted to bring that name to your attention. We also have the energy sector, which is XLV right here, XLV. And sorry, that is the healthcare sector, which is pretty bullish right now. And we do have a break above that 126 level, and we currently are trending at all-time highs. So look for the healthcare sector to receive a slight pullback. If not, we are having the 127 and the 128 levels for overhead targets. We did have nice consolidation here at that 124 to 126 level before we slightly broke out on Friday, but we did close right at that resistance level of 125 to 126 and 126, I should say. So going to tomorrow, I am looking at those overhead targets. If we don't get pushed higher, look for this consolidation area right here to slosh around in this area a little longer before breaking out. Okay. Also, quickly looking at SMH. We do have SMH right here, which is a semiconductor. All-time highs is in sight here. We do have a double top scenario at that 255, 256 area. So I am looking at a breakout above 256 for potential 259 and 264. If we do not break above that 256, look for 252, 249, and a bottom right here where we catapulted at that 246 level to be retested once more if we do see some market weakness. Just going to quickly look over here at the daily chart. And currently we are in a triple top formation. We have the 258 hit here, once more here, and here we are the third time testing it. So I am looking at a breakout here. The more times you test this resistance zone, more likely we are to break it. What you really want to see is breaking it on the first time, perhaps the second time. Here we are receiving the second pullback, right? And the third push up now. So I am looking to see if we do break this 258.5 going into next week. So overall, I am pretty bullish on the market. As I mentioned, the healthcare sector, along with the semiconductors and the tech sector, are all hovering around all-time highs, along with SPX having a bullish week. So 4,300 is key on SPX. And if we do hit that, look for the tech sector, healthcare sector, and semiconductors to all follow through with that. Okay, so that is the market analysis. I'm going to head over to our watch list name, and the first name that I want to touch up on is Nvda. Nvidia, again, is still trending higher, and I am pretty bullish on it. You know, we do have all-time highs in sight. We did get a tiny bit of a pullback at that 775 level, closing Friday's session at the 760 level. So going into tomorrow, I am looking at 766. Above that, take profits at 775, and I also have the next take profit at that 790 level, and another bullish target at that 800 psychological level. I do have $800 here because we do have a lot of analyst upgrades with higher price targets, and a lot of them do exceed that $800 level. So I am looking at Nvidia to touch those levels going into next week. If we don't hit those levels, we do have some support here built on the way up. Most notably is that 720 level. So if we do see some weakness, look for that 720 level to get hit, as we did hit it here, and we did have buyers step in around that 720 zone and ultimately pushing us back up to all-time highs, where we do have a double top scenario at that 776 level here back on June the 18th and once more on the 24th of June. So much like the other names, I am looking for the third push up to see if we can break resistance at that 775 level, resulting in a triple top scenario or a breakout above the 775. Going into tomorrow, I am looking at that 756 level to hold. If we do not hold that, 750 would be my second confirmation, which this is where I would potentially short Nvidia. And to my first target would be 740 on the shorting position of 750, and my second position here would be that 730 level, just because, you know, we did have some nice price action here pushing us up back above that. So I am looking at a bounce at that 730 to 720 level, but be cautious, guys. We are in an uptrend, and you don't want to be holding your short position too long. Close it out, take your profits, and look to see if we do receive a bounce at those levels. Okay, pretty bullish on Nvidia, and I do expect 800 to get hit this week if we do have strength in the semiconductor sector. Another name that I want to look at is Netflix, which had a pretty bullish week, running us alongside Roku, which also had a bullish week, which I will touch upon after this. Here we are on the 4-hour chart. As you guys can see, we did have some strong resistance here at that 508 to 512 level. We were stuck into this downtrend ever since April the 26th. This was the earnings right here. We pushed down from that 564 level all the way, slushing down to that 480 to 512. Finally, last week, we broke above that 512 level, and we are testing key resistance at that 530 level. So Going into tomorrow, I am looking to see if 530 does break. If that does break, 536, 542, and key resistance here at 556, which was the breakdown candle at earnings right here. So I am looking for a retest at the breakdown candle at 556. And guys, I definitely do see a rejection at that level. As you guys can see here, we've had multiple rejections over the past months, most notably here back on April on the 19th, which was around the earnings section. We also had multiple rejections here back in February 2021. And we also have some rejections here back on October the 16th, 2020. So 552 to 556 is strong resistance from prior history. So if we do break above 530, 536, 542 are my take profit number 1 and 2. And if we are bullish, look for these the third take profit target at that 552 to 556 to get hit before potentially receiving a pullback or a break above this 556 level would definitely catapult us above to 564. Okay, look for convincing volume at this level because that will pretty much tell you that we are moving higher to those next levels that I mentioned, 565. Now, if this is just a bounce and we get rejected at 530, look for 522 and 512 as key support on Netflix. Overall, I am slightly bullish on Netflix on the shorter term time frames, but like I said, 556 is key for me. If we can break that, I'm pretty bullish on Netflix. So this is one name that you should be looking at getting into tomorrow. Another name that I want to look at is Roku. This is one of the names that was pretty bullish, and I believe Netflix, caught up on this coattails and, joined the rally. Here we are on Roku on the 4-hour chart. Big move up, guys, all the way from that 332 level, pretty much all the way to 430. Closing Friday session, pretty bullish, right at resistance 430. So heading into tomorrow, I would like to see how we push above that 430 mark. We did have a bit of a fake out here. So be a little patient with your entries. Look to see 430 consolidation above that. And if we consolidate above 430, my targets are 440, 445, and 550 to the upside for take profit targets. And we do also have all-time highs at that 486 mark. Anything's possible. Look for a retest at that 486 mark. However, we are a little bit overextended here. We just made it pretty much a beeline all the way up. So look for a little pullback here to that 420, 410, 405 level before heading higher. Okay, that is Roku on the 4-hour time frame, and I'm pretty bullish. Just look to see if there's a continuation move. If not, look for a bit of a pullback correction on Roku. And if Roku does receive a correction, look for Netflix to see if there's a correlation and for that one to pull back as well. Okay. The next name I want to look at is AMC. Not much happening here, guys. As I mentioned here on our Instagram page, I posted a few times and for our group members, and I'll pretty much make it simple for you guys. 53, 50, $50.53 is key support on AMC, but the magical number that we need to see break is that $65 level. We are stuck into this $65 to $50 level, which is called a channel, and this channel needs to break. Either it's to the downside or to the upside. Obviously, if we have convincing volume, 50 is your key area. If we do break to the downside, we have key support at 45 and 42 if we do receive a break below 50. So look for those areas to get hit. We did have some price action here at those levels when it did break the first time. So if we do break, look for a bounce potentially at those levels back to the $50 level and above. Now to the upside, I would like to see $57 break. That would be my first confirmation. My second confirmation would be 62. Take profits would be 65 and 73. However, this is a no trade zone, in my opinion, until 65 or $50 gets broken. Okay, that's my view on AMC. I am still bullish on it, And there's a lot of rumors with this, with hedge funds, and their shorting tactics and illegal short positions. However, AMC does have a majority of its shares bought by the public, so they're holding strong, and I am still bullish. It just takes a little longer for the squeeze to happen. And if you are in a position that you are holding shares, continue holding those shares until you see one of those levels break. And you can always trim down your positions if you see $50 break, or add to your positions if you see $65 break. Okay, so that's my view on AMC. Still pretty bullish. Keep on holding. Another name that caught my eye last week, most notably on Friday, was SPCE. SPCE had a pretty bullish news, which basically catapulted us past that 2750 level, that 3150 level, where we did have some, consolidation at that level where we couldn't break it here on March the 25th. We had also had a hard time breaking it here back on June the 2nd before we received that news, and we had a big straight beeline here all the way to $60. We do have resistance at $60, so going into tomorrow, obviously I am looking at $60 and $63 to break. I would rather enter at the break of all-time highs at 63 for potential take profits at 68, 70, and 75. Now, anything that runs up this hard is more prone to a pullback. So if we do have $60 as a rejection point, look for 54 as your support point. If 54 can't hold, your shorting position and your take profit position should be on the break of 54 for take profit at 50, 46.5, and 42, where we did have some price action over here at those levels back on January the 27th, 2021. Overall, I am pretty bullish on SPCE. Usually when stocks do test all-time highs, most likely than not, it does break to all-time highs at that, $68, $70 target that I have drawn out here for you. Pretty bullish move. I will be keeping my eyes on this one. So SPCE is close to those all-time highs, guys. So keep that in your watch list. Another name, Snap. I did discuss this in previous streams, and as you guys can remember, 65 was a key area for me, just because we've had multiple rejections here. One rejection here back on February, another one here back in March, once more here back in April, another one here back in June, early June, I should say, and finally we broke out last week. We broke up above last week, over 65. I do have targets consistently again going to next week, 70. So if you are looking to enter Snap, I would definitely look to enter above the $70 mark. Look for take profits at 73. I do have 75 just because it's more of a round number, and stocks tend to go into these headings of 75, 80, 85, 90. So 75 is my second take profit target. And obviously, if you see a 75 break, it's in price discovery, and this thing can push all the way to 80, which I will draw my third take profit target right now. So 80 would be my third take profit target. But first things first, I like to see $70 break for take profit number one and take profit number two to get hit. Now, to the downside, if we do get rejected at 70, obviously, we would like to see a pushback down to 65 to retest this. Hold resistance, turn support. So rejection at 70, look for 65 to hold, consolidate, and finally push above to make those highs of 70 and 80 possible. Okay. If we cannot hold 65, definitely have $60 as key support here. We did slush around in this channel before moving up, so look for that as another support point, and a pretty potential bounce play at that $60 mark if we receive a pullback on Snap. Pretty bullish on Snap, so keep this name on your watch list. A few more names here. V, which is Visa. As you guys can see here, we are pretty bullish on Visa at all-time highs. Another double top scenario here at that 238 level. Once here back on April the 30th, 2021. Once more here last week Closing Friday session pretty bullish, right at resistance 238. Heading into next week, obviously I have 240 as my take profit number one. However, I would potentially like to enter at 240 just because it is a nice round number. So my entry point actually would be above 240, 242, 244, and 248 would be my third take profit if we do have a strong week on Visa. Okay. Now, to the downside, if we do have a double top scenario and we get rejected, 235 is key support, 232 is next key support. And now obviously we do have a down week. We do have strong support here at that 228 level. So look for a pullback down here if we do see market weakness. Okay, pretty bullish on Visa. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to look and to see if this chart's bullish. It's pretty bullish. Follow the trend. However, look for that 238 level to break this double top scenario that we have here. If we don't break this, obviously a rejection down to that 235 level to test this level, then move higher is highly plausible. Okay. Another name that I want to look at, and the final name that caught my eye, is TGT. Again, all-time highs, and it is currently in price discovery at that 241 level. I am going to zoom in here to give you guys a better outlook. And, you know, kind of like ROKU, just straight up. And very little support, I would say, was built along the way. We do have some support here. So going into tomorrow, if we don't see a break at 242, look for a push down to support at 240 and potentially 238, where we did see a slight rejection here. Okay. Now, if we don't get a rejection and obviously we trend higher, you would like to enter above the 242 level. We are in price discovery, so targets I have here are 244 and 246 and 248. These are just round numbers that stocks tend to respect. So look for those numbers to get hit to the upside if we do see continued strength on target. Okay. Just to recap, guys, pretty solid names to look for next week. And SPX is currently at all-time highs. Look for that 4,300 psychological to get hit before a pullback, and we are due for a pullback. QQQ overextended at all-time highs. Pretty bullish on tech. Look for a pullback with that one. Nothing continues to go up without receiving some sort of pullback, so be cautious in your entries and exits. Again, XLV, SMH, also at all-time highs. You know, be cautious with those positions, but also understand that we are in an uptrend and we could still break higher. So don't be the type to say, oh, we're at all-time highs, I should just enter shorts. That is reckless. Don't do that. Follow the trend until it's broken, and then, you know, look to see what you can do with shorts if you do need to short at a certain level. But I mentioned overall, I'm pretty bullish on the market. 4,300 is the magical number that I'm going to be looking at next week. Nvda, all-time highs, still around there. Look for that 770 mark, 775, I should say. Netflix, 530 is that key level that you should be watching. Roku, big push up. Look to see if Netflix is pushing up. Look for correlations with Roku. AMC, like I said, we are stuck into that $50 to $53 range, all the way up to 65, which is a channel that we need to break. Above 65, to the moon. Okay. Below 50, look for key support at 45 and $40, where we did have previous support. SPCE, big move on Friday, 40+% move. You know, look for a slight pullback before us going higher. Okay. We do have all-time highs at 63, so keep that in mind. Snap, we did break above 65 finally. Look for an entry above 70, as I mentioned. That's also nearing all-time highs. V, obviously, Visa at all-time highs at that 238. Look for that double top scenario. If it can be broken, look for a pullback, then enter. And TGT at all-time highs and it's creating price discovery. We have the chart open here and it's nothing but bullish. All right, guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you do want to join our Discord group, head over to thewealthymentor.net and check out what we have to offer. Thank you so much. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and tune in next week. And if also you want any stocks reviewed for next week, just hit us in the comment section and let me know. All right. Thank you. Bye.